Good morning, good evening. Welcome, everyone, to another live session on Insight Timer. I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to see you. Please introduce yourself, make yourself feel welcome. If you are here for the first time, raise your hand. And hello, Celeste. Hello, Nima. Hello, Cece. Hello, Riley, Todd, Vic, Cara, Lisa, Laura, so many of you. So glad to see you. My goodness, the comments are running so. Caroline, hello, Caroline. Good to see you. Christine, wonderful. So good to see you. Christine for the first time. Beautiful. Dorota from London. Cara, Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. So good to see you. Teresa, Nancy. Hello, Sharon. I'm just kind of looking outside of the camera trying to see all your comments and all your welcome. So please introduce yourself, make yourself feel comfortable. Today's session is about how to deal with difficult emotion with mindfulness and how to heal those difficult emotions. So we are going to jump right into the topic. But before I do it, I'd like to introduce myself for those of you who are here for the first time and give you time to just connect and settle in because, as always, I want to mention this is a collective effort. And although I'm the one who does talking here, your presence here is of great importance. And without you, this could not possibly happen. So I want to thank you for your presence. I want to thank you for all your comments that you post on my meditations, all the messages that you send me. I want to thank you for all the so many donations that I receive from you to support my work and to validate my cause. The fact that what I'm doing is helping you, which is the whole point of this, so we can collectively, individually and collectively, grow and heal those traumas and get over our human condition, so to speak. But I'll be talking about it more in a second. So for now, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tomek. I am a teacher here on Insight Timer, but most importantly, I'm a scientist, and I've been doing science for the past, 20 years now at various universities. And now I devoted my work towards helping you with mental health, with emotional intelligence, with development and evolving through my scientific knowledge and through my experience. And that's what I do here on Insight Timer. So as you may see on your screen right now, I facilitate a shift in consciousness. By the way, for those of you who see me just a small picture and you watching me on your devices, you may switch your device from portrait to landscape, and this way you can see me full screen. And I think that's going to be better for all the quotes I want to post on the screen, so you can see it better and clearer. Just a technical remark. So my work, I've been working on Insight Timer for quite some time, and I'm very happy to report that Insight Timer invited me to be part of the mentoring program here on Insight Timer. Amongst 10,000 teachers, until now, only about 40 has been chosen to offer the mentoring services, and I'm amongst them, and I'm very happy to do it. And the work I do with you here during live sessions extends also in my private sessions, where we can dive together deeper into the issues I talk about and face some of the challenges that you're experiencing together, and perhaps try to tackle them together and clear the way for your expansion, for your personal development, and for anything that you are challenged with in your life, whether it's a physical, mental, psychological, or spiritual. All those four aspects are taken into account during my mentoring sessions. And today's session is no different. It builds upon the bed of knowledge related to your emotional intelligence. And as you can see on the screen, the title of today's session is Healing Difficult Emotions with Mindfulness. And this is a super important topic that I want to introduce. And the quote, if you may see during the session, that basically underlies the session is by Valerie Bertinelli, who says, when you are busy blocking out difficult emotions and feelings, you are not going to feel the good stuff either. And I think this is something that is very important to mention right at the start of the session, that we are experiencing various emotions, and it is also natural, only natural, to suppress and block those emotions. As a matter of fact, we evolved as a human beings to experience emotions. And this is something that not so many of us are being aware of, that the evolution of human race that started a long time ago, but as a Homo sapiens around 70,000 years ago, somewhere on the east coast in Africa, the small insignificant species came to the picture precisely because of its ability to process emotions and being able to experience emotions on the higher level, which ultimately led us as a species to collaborate. The empathy, the fact that we can recognize emotions of others and integrate them within our framework, made us who we are. And now, all this thousands of years later, we are here using amazing technology, working together, and frequently being overwhelmed. But something that actually is the reasons for our it's a reason for our success. So I think what I invite you to do today is to look at the emotions as not something that gets in our way, but actually something that is the reason for our success. And another way, in the title of this session, I say healing difficult emotions with mindfulness. But the way I see word healing here is an equivalent to growth, maturing, evolution. And it is related to how we take the human condition, which is ultimately bound to our emotions, how we can mature and use those emotions to our advantage, to use emotions as our allies. And I'm going to turn off the quote just for a moment. And this is something very important to recognize, that the first step to heal emotions is to bring awareness to them, to examine them. And this is something that also many of us are not willing to do. Because rather than examining the difficult emotions that every single person experience, whether it's a loneliness, whether it's a grief, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, all those emotions that are so powerful that take over us, we have natural physiological tendency to suppress them. We have a recoil every time that something negative, quote unquote, happens to us. But in order to heal those emotions and to develop a new relationship with those emotions, the first step is to examine them. Examine them by bringing awareness to what is happening, as opposed to trying to resist them and suppress them, something that we do habitually, something that we do so naturally. So, what I invite you to do today is to be a journalist, a scientist, or a detective, and take a look at all those emotions that happen to you on a daily basis, all those difficult emotions that perhaps you don't know how to deal with, and look at them with curiosity. Stand on the sideline and have the courage for all of us together to stand and look at them for what they really are, where they come from. And something that is important to mention here is the nature of our mind. As I said at the beginning, we evolved we as humans evolved as emotional beings. And over that, all that period of time, we created certain habits that are so deeply ingrained in our mind. And you first thing that you must recognize is that mind works in habits and works with habitual behaviors. And whatever without awareness, without examining what is happening in your mind will work on autopilot without you being aware of it and will be absolutely fine. Your mind doesn't really mind to work on its own. It's designed to carry on with all the functions on your body. Ask yourself, do you circulate your blood? Do you digest your food? Do you run your nervous system? There are most of the functions of your body, including mind, they work on their own. They do not require your attention. However, without examining those traits and those habitual behaviors, what you find very frequently that you become a prey to the basic instinct, which is instinct of survival. Again, something that we learn over those thousands and thousands of years that is deeply ingrained in our mind. So only the tool that we're using today to heal, and again, heal, I'm using the word healing, I'm using as a synonym in this particular context to growth, to maturing, to evolving. That's how I mean it in this session. This is by examining those thoughts, we give ourselves opportunity to actually notice what those emotions are. And we are not here to get rid of emotions. Oh no, you cannot possibly expect that through any form of practice, sadness disappear, or loneliness disappear, or grief disappears, or anger disappears. These are emotions that are always here. They are part of our humanity and they make who we are. So the reason why we are here is to change our relationship with those emotions and to build new connection with who we are. And that can happen through mindfulness approach, through careful examination of what is happening in our mind, and make our mind an ally in this in this struggle. So if you start examining, you put on the table all those emotions, and again gather courage. Again, it requires courage to look at your mind and what it does. You will realize that the most important part of this process is thinking about thinking, something that in science we call metacognition. Thinking about thinking. So with awareness, you start examining the train of thoughts, the unconscious or unconscious, not unconscious, but the habitual train of thoughts and where they are leading you. And through that examination, you start building a new, more sophisticated relationship with those thoughts. There's no longer need to resist them or suppress them, but as an intelligent, evolved human being, you learn learn to relate to those emotions in a very different way. And mindfulness, by definition, it is a process of looking at whatever that is, in this case, our emotions, without judgment, without all those habitual repressing, resisting. It's a careful examination of what there is. Again, as a journalist would do, as a scientist like myself would do. That's why I love mindfulness, because mindfulness, it's a very scientific method of examining things. Before judging, before making conclusions, you just look at it. What it is. What does it do? How does it work? What does it teach me? Or if you like another approach, being a detective. Examine the evidence. What's what? Who's who? And then try to and then try to learn more about what is going on. So by examining, again, tapping carefully into the nature of those human emotions, what we start doing is, as again, building a different relationship. We building a skill that allows us to build a relationship with those emotions. And this skill is very important. Why it's important? First of all, when those strong emotions come without our knowledge, it is very difficult to deal with them. It's simply because, well, if I ask you to pass an exam right now and you are not prepared to pass the exam, the chances are you would fail it, right? But if I give you time to prepare yourself, the chances of you passing this exam increase. And the same with difficult emotions. What we do in meditation, what we do through mindfulness, we set ourselves a goal of building a relationship with those difficult emotions. You tell yourself, you set a time, the same way as you set time to brush your teeth, to do your chores, or to do anything else, or to study. You set a time to have a date with your loneliness, to have a date with your grief, to have a date with your anger, and face it skillfully. Face it as an intelligent being, knowing that the event will come, but then you are ready to face it. And through that careful examination, through putting yourself out there with courage, you gradually build a skill. So next time when this emotion comes unexpectedly, you are ready. You are ready to deal with it in a different way. You are already far into building a relationship with it and responding rather than reacting. So you may ask yourself how to deal with those difficult emotions. They come and you have to face them. And that's where mindfulness comes to place. As I said before, first of all, you set a time. You committed to having a date with the emotion that is that emotion that challenges you. And during that time, you do not expect for loneliness to arise, or anger to arise, or sadness, or grief. You simply are ready for those emotions to arrive. And when you sit, you experience many different states of mind. Sometimes there is a space, sometimes there's a busyness, but then eventually the difficult emotions that challenges you arises. But now you're ready. You're ready so you can welcome it rather than resist it. The habitual behavior is no longer there. You welcome it, you look at it, and you started skillfully examining what is happening. And the nature of difficult emotion is that they very frequently can be experienced through your body. The strength of the emotions you may experience as a feeling pit in your stomach, or a tightness in your chest or in your throat. Maybe you can feel it in your shoulders. Maybe you feel it as a lower back pain. Maybe you can feel it as a headache. There are a million ways in which your body responds to those difficult emotions. And then you, by sitting with it, by examining it, you start learning what they really are and where they come from. Perhaps with enough attention, you may actually see the wave of that difficult emotion. In my case, for instance, this is anger. For me, this is classic. I can start seeing before the emotion, because before I can name the emotion, I can actually see the wave of tension in my stomach and tension all of my body to arrive. And I see what is happening. Yes, I've been there before. And then I'm ready to face, I'm ready to respond mindfully. I do not expect at any of that point anger to be removed from my life. Absolutely not. This is all about changing my relationship to the emotions of anger. And that's why building, when I say healing, or most importantly, self-directed healing, that's how mindfulness can be used to do just that. To build, once again, build a new, fresh relationship. And next time that emotion arises, because we examine it in a safe space of meditation, well, it doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be formal. You may go on a walk, again, make a date with your difficult emotion, and then walk and expect it to rise, right? But when you face it in that controlled environment, in the laboratory of your mind as a detective, journalist, or scientist, you create a neural connections in your brain that help you next time to, again, be more sophisticated, be more skillful about this particular thing. So what I'm inviting you to do today is to use a very powerful method of rain. We're going to pour rain on all difficult emotions. And RAIN is an acronym that is frequently used in the mindfulness practice. R stands for recognize. So we're going to recognize our difficult emotion or whatever arises in our mind. Perhaps give it a label. A stands for accept. Rather than judging it, resisting it, pulling it away or pushing it away, you say, okay, there you are. Accept. And this is much easier because you are ready for that emotion to arise. You are not surprised by it. It doesn't take you by surprise. It does not overwhelm you. And then we have I for investigate. Be curious about it. That's the scientific curiosity comes in place. Investigate. Sit with it. Observe perhaps those bodily sensations that are building around this emotion. And then N stands for non-reactive. Nurture this emotion. Bring the compassion. Bring the kindness in non-reactive way. Simply allowing it, surrendering to it. And as a last step, learning from that emotion that no longer have control over you because you're experiencing this emotion in a controlled environment, in the environment when you're ready to receive it. So once again, RAIN, R for recognize, A for accept, I for investigate, and N for non-reactive or nurture. So you nurture this emotion at the end. You try to learn from it. Okay, so perhaps before we start the actual meditation, you have any questions? I didn't have a chance to look at the comments being consumed by talking to you, but now is the time for me to answer the questions. So I'm gonna take a look at the comments. Oh, by the way, thank you for your comments and thank you for your donations. I can already see that you kindly donated. Made some donations, and through this we may have a coffee. That's a virtual coffee, I call it. Every time you shout me a coffee and I see that donation. Ven says we need Tara Bragg on IT. Ven says, well, Tara Bragg is on Insight Timer, so you certainly can look at her. Martise asks, do they ever go away even with mindfulness meditation? Martise, this is a very good and important question. Emotions make us who we are, and they will never go away. Can you really expect for anger to disappear, or sadness to disappear, or loneliness to disappear, or any of the emotions? You cannot. They are part of our human DNA. That's the fabric of our humanity. But as I said before, what we can do is to learn more and to evolve and to grow and to heal those emotions so they no longer have the power over us. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Karine, for your kind donations. How lovely of you. I'm looking at the comments. Nima says needs constant practice. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is something that we formally and informally practice all the time. This is a skill that we constantly growing and refining. What is the time frame for turning the feeling around? This is very, very interesting. I think it is very personal, and it depends on how deep the emotion is ingrained in you and how and your current relationship with it. So it may vary. Sometimes when you practice it, you may deal with emotion very quickly. But sometimes, thank you, by the way, for those of you who shared your thoughts in the circle. And a lot of you experience unresolved emotions of grief when a member of your family passed away and you never had a chance to deal with it. And this is not something, obviously, speaking of time frame, this is not something that you can deal during one session. This is something that will take time to reframe in your mind, to again bring to the surface rather than keep it suppressed. And this is the nature of the work, that you're bringing something that it's habitually, physiologically suppressed, because that's what our natural instinct is, to suppress those things. Bring it to the surface and look at it with the fresh eyes. Dorota says, I feel like my brain doesn't stop. So much practice is needed to control them. Dorota, I think this is something that is very important to mention, that thoughts will never stop. They're not meant to stop. You have a beautiful mind that is designed to process information through thinking, and expecting your mind to simply stop is unreasonable. And that's why mindfulness it's so important, to bring awareness to the thought process, and rather than resisting it, making it even stronger. The classic saying, what you resist, it persists. You look at it with a fresh eye, and then all this scariness of that ongoing thoughts does no longer scare you. And another thing to mention, everything is temporary. So even that monkey mind that I talk about so much is not there forever. You start experiencing, with more mindfulness, with more awareness, you start experiencing more gaps. And within those gaps between the thoughts, there's a more freedom. There's all those wonderful experiences that happen They happen in those gaps when we take time to examine what happens. And then you notice that this too shall pass, as Tara Brach says. Every single thing that it happens, whether it's a thinking, whether it's emotion, whether it's a thought, everything eventually passes. And if we pay enough attention to those moments, you may realize that the space between those moments is filled with freedom. That's what the surrender is. That's what the growth is. That's what the expansion is. But that can only happen if you pay attention, when you invest that mental currency into the process of mindfulness. Because as the title of this talk states, it's you heal difficult emotion with mindfulness. You heal difficult emotions by paying attention, investigating, and curiously looking at what is happening underneath all that unconscious chatter. I apologize if I miss some of those questions because the comments are going so quickly. So right now, I want to just stop for a moment and mention that if you have, please, I would love to have more time to answer all your questions. And the best way of doing it is to come and join the circle, because that's a better place. And you can see on the bottom of the screen now, it's called Tomek Circle. Please go there, join us, and let's continue the conversation there. I simply don't have enough time to answer all your questions. Also, if you wish to investigate those questions, if you have a burning questions, and particularly if you're dealing with something of importance that's important to you, now you can join through Insight Timer my mentoring program. And there we can one-on-one, we have all the time in the world to examine those things in more detail. Those general sessions obviously will not allow me to answer your questions. But if you press the mentoring button, there's a plenty of time slots for you to fill in and to join me. And we have one-on-one look at some of those things that you're working with. This is a wonderful thing. Another way of doing it through my circle. So you have a couple of options to do it. I have a feeling I lost so many questions there. Samantha asked, you heal difficult emotions with what? You heal difficult emotions with mindfulness. And when I say heal, you learn a skill of observing them, and you learn how to develop a new relationship, more conscious relationship, as opposed to unconscious relationship that your difficult programming of your mind offers. The default state of your mind is to suppress them, is to reject them. That's where the tension comes from. That's where the suffering comes from. We try to simply resist something that is impossible to resist because emotions are always there. Karen says, I let anxiety incapacitate me. I've been finding your guided meditation extremely helpful and comforting. So yeah, that's the beginning. You start noticing that there's an emotional state that does no longer work for you, right? Does no longer serve your purpose. And you intentionally trying to investigate it, to change it in the way that's going to be more beneficial to you. Lisa asked how to join the circle. If you see the app, maybe I'm going to bring it. This is if you go to Insight Timer and you look at the app, that's my profile. And one of the ways of actually interacting with my profile is to first of all follow me. And once you press the follow button, you have those three options. You can either send me a message, then you can have the icon of the bell that allows you to receive notifications about all the events, including those live events that we are streaming now. And as you see, you can have one-on-one mentoring options that allow you to contact with me and work with me directly. So this is the way I bring it up later at the end of this session. Um, hmm. Okay. I can see so many questions which I don't have time to answer now. So let us jump into the meditation part of this session. And I want to just share with you the emotions I'm feeling. I feel very excited uh, about sharing with you all this information. This information is something that is very important to myself as well. This is emotions, and particularly anger in my case, is something that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. So this is a process that I'm going through myself and do the scientific examination of it myself. So you being here actually helps me a lot as well. But that excitement maybe stops me right now from being present to you right now. So I'm going to take a moment, take a sip before we start meditation, and start paying attention to uh, to what is happening within me, and maybe through that slow down a bit, so I can guide you in the meditation in the most skillful possible way. Okay. Also, to help us the rain process, I have a wonderful piece of music for you by Pablo Arellano, one of the teachers on Inside Timer, called Space of Love. And I'm going to play it for you as a background music for exploration. So, in the spirit of rain right now, I'd like you to choose an emotion that, or difficult emotion, that you struggle to deal with. And when you choose this emotion, usually you should know it's not difficult to find this emotion, because you habitually bring it to your mind very often throughout the day or throughout the week. So what is going to happen during this meditation, you do not expect for this emotion to arise. This is not the point. You cannot make yourself feel emotions on demand, but you will be expecting it. So if and when it arises, you will be ready. And in the meantime, you'll be applying or pouring rain on everything else that happens, every thought, every emotion, every scenario that passes in your head. So, rain again, you will learn how to recognize what is happening in your mind. You will accept without judgment, without trying to resist it, without pushing it away, whatever there is. Then you are going to investigate with curiosity. Maybe there's a body sensation underlying it. Maybe there's something else. Maybe you're going to have an insight. And then eventually nurture it with kindness and compassion, knowing that the emotions are not you. Not non-identification. You are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions. You simply experience those emotions as a consciousness. And that's what we try to do. Okay. So right now, I invite you to make yourself feel comfortable. Oh, by the way, for those of you, I just realized, for those of you who can't see the rain, this is the acronym. Recognize what's going on, allow the experience to be there just as it is, accept it for what it is, investigate with kindness, and natural awareness, which comes from non-identifying with the experience. Again, if you switch your device from portrait to landscape, you'll be able to see it in the full screen. Hopefully that will help you to see it clearer. So I will keep it on the screen. So every time you forget, you might open your eyes and just take a quick look at the rain, because that's what you're going to practice. So once again, make yourself feel comfortable, at ease, and let us start the practice. Feet on the floor, hands in your lap, back straight but not rigid. And begin by taking a couple of deeper breaths. Again, my excitement takes best of me, and I can feel the tension throughout my body. So I'll take a couple of deep breaths, and hopefully you can help me to do it. I can feel the expansion in my chest and how the tension dissolves. You may allow your eyes to close. And settling down as your breath slows down, you are creating a headspace in which you can examine, you can slow down. That's the nature of this meditation. You slow down the natural habitual reaction. And when you slow down, creating more space, more headspace for this exploration, you have more time. You can respond mindfully. So acknowledge where you are and how you feel right now. You may not experience the difficult emotion that you chose to work with, but you do experience and feel something. So as a preparation for carry on, examine the isness of things. R for recognize what is happening right now. Whether it's a strong emotion or subtle emotion. A, accept and allow that this is normal, this is part of human nature. This process is not about letting go and getting rid of emotions, but allowing them as they are and look at them skillfully. Now investigate what is happening. How do you feel in your body? Is there any tension and discomfort? Maybe there's a softness. And allow yourself to stay with it, knowing that you are not the emotion, you are not the thought. You are a journalist, detective, a scientist that stands aside and observes the process peacefully, kindly, not judgmentally. Bring the rain of mindfulness. Knowing that I am here by your side to hold the space for you, to support you on your journey. And knowing that so many of us doing it together. Collectively co-creating this space and creating more time, creating new capsule for all those emotions that were left unexamined. This may not be easy, but it is necessary for your healing, for your growth, for your maturing. And every time you do it, you build a skill, you improve your relationship, and are ready and better prepared next time when whatever arises, whether it's emotion, a thought, recognize, allow, investigate, nurture, non-identification with what is happening, being the observer of what there is. Pleasant, unpleasant, these are just labels that your mind gives to the process. Those labels is just a commentary. This is not the reality of things. The reality that you experience may be the tension in your stomach, maybe tightness in your chest, in your throat, maybe a pain in your lower back, tightness in your shoulders or your neck. And remember, this too shall pass. It is not there forever. So be mindful of those gaps where actually none of this is happening. Together, embracing the process, feeling safe, secure, and protected. Being together in the laboratory of your mind. Perhaps for the first time, stepping back, allowing yourself to experience the reality as is without reacting to it. Disengaging the habitual response and engaging skillful, sophisticated investigation of the process. filled with curiosity. And again, I'm always here by your side to hold the space, knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are not alone in this process. And so many of us are experiencing, are faced with those challenges. That gives you energy and courage to pour the rain of mindfulness. Recognize, allow, investigate, nurture through non-identification. Pour the rain on anything that happens. Learning about yourself, learning about responses of your body to whatever happens. And if and when the difficult emotion that you chose to work with arises, you are ready to receive it with kindness and compassion. And now it's time to conclude and wrap up. Give yourself thanks for this sacred time, the time you spend with yourself, getting to know yourself better, learning about your emotions that are integral part of you without resistance. How did it feel? I'm sure it wasn't easy, but I applaud your courage to do it anyway. You really did great. We all did great. And I can feel the power of our collective here. So allow me to express my gratitude for your presence here, for your courage to collectively improve our human condition, to heal, to taking a chance to heal emotions, to grow and to mature as a human being. This is a very important work that you just did. And make a mental note about what you've learned. So next time when you are faced with difficult emotions, you are better prepared to skillfully build new relationship with it. So now bring your awareness to your senses, reconnect with the sounds around you, reconnect with your body, with your feet resting on the floor, feeling your hands in your lap, your sit bones on the chair. And now start wiggling your toes, moving your fingers. Slowly and gently tilt your head to the left, tilt your head to the right, back to the center, and let us take together one deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. If you have water by your side, please hydrate. Working with your mind takes a lot of energy. Thank you so much. I felt such a peace during this meditation. Absolutely incredible. Although I think there is a garbage truck outside of my window, which you might hear, I will still maintain that a high level of equanimity throughout this practice. And I believe this is because of your presence, because of a collective intention to face those emotions with courage. This was absolutely wonderful. And I thank you for that. So, what's the next step from here? Well, you just carry on being more aware of what is happening. Feel free to use my meditations to work with this process. If you wish to go through the very same meditation, I will publish it on my YouTube channel, Tomek Guided Meditations. You'll be able to go just through the meditation part of it and work with whatever there is. Apply the RAIN method to learn more about yourself. If there is something else that you like to work with, perhaps if there are things that you still undiscovered, well, one way of doing it is to come and join the circle and ask your questions there. Another way of doing it is to follow me on Insight Timer. And the way to do it is simply go to my profile, follow me, and click that bell icon to receive notifications. So we can learn again together during the next live session, which is going to be next week, about emotional intelligence, how to grow as a human being. And for those of you who have particularly challenging emotions or something that require one-on-one attention, I'm there for you with the mentoring offering that you can always use through Insight Timer. So right now, I'd like to thank you for your presence, for all your wonderful thoughts, for all your comments. And I look forward to seeing you next time and connecting with you through my circle, through my meditations, through my mentoring. Have a wonderful evening or beautiful day wherever you are. And until next time.